Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Power Rangers Season 3, Episode 38 of my show. But this is about Episode 3 of the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers mini saga segment of Season 3. Now, Episode 3 in the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers mini saga segment is known as Climb Every Fountain. So, as I stated before, every single episode in the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers series is connected because it's still technically a part of the third season. So, anyway, basically what's happening is, if you guys remember back in the previous video I talked about, which was about part 2 of the two-part episode Alien Rangers of Aquitar, which started this segment, the Alien Rangers got introduced to Earth and started defending the planet until Zordon and Alpha could find a way to return their Rangers, the Earth Rangers, back to their normal ages and stuff. And then basically, that's the only thing I'm going to backtrack about. And then basically now I'm going to get into the actual storyline of this episode. The Rangers are basically trying to sort of adapt to still being in child form at this point. Oh, but before I continue, I should mention only one of the Rangers will be turned back to his normal age after this point. But I will explain which one later. I just wanted to get that out of the way there. Anyway, so because of the whole thing with the Rangers being turned back into their normal, to their child ages, their powers are weakened, which is why they can't use them, which, again, is the reason why they called the Alien Rangers of Aquitar for assistance. Anyway, basically the rest of the human Rangers are on a school bus headed first what happens is the Alien Rangers are trying to get accustomed to the Earth, and then basically Billy is wondering, I think it's because Billy's still in his child form at this point, but he's the one that's going to be turned back to his normal age after this episode. I just wanted to get that out of the way. He's wondering if Sestro can help him figure out a way to turn them all back to normal, and stop Rita and Zed from destroying the Earth. And then basically one of the Alien Rangers, I can't remember which one it is, but one of them says that if anyone can help them out, Sestro can, because like I said when I did the character bio for the Alien Rangers, Sestro is basically the Aquitar equivalent of Billy, basically, and they're wondering what they can do until they can figure out a way to get back to normal. And they're also curious about what Rita and Zed are up to. Now I'm going to get into the segment with Rita and Zed. Basically in this episode, if you guys remember, this episode carries over sort of from where the ending of the second part left off. So if you remember, at the end of the second part, Master Vile had retreated, and Zed was happy about that. I just wanted to backtrack to that part because what Zed says the first thing he says in this episode is actually another good thing. Is like, we finally got rid of that decrepit tyrant of a father of yours. to my father of yours, and next will be your bony buffoon of a brother. And by that, he's referring to Rito. But he knows that they also have to find a way to get rid of the alien rangers before they can take over the Earth in the past, before the Rangers manage to find a way to restore themselves to their normal ages. And basically, and there's coming up with a plan for it, and then basically what happens is, now I just wanted to mention that part because, the monster that they're going to create is actually sort of technically first created from Billy, sort of. What I mean by that is, what I mean by that is, it's this gold robot thing that he creates that he needs the power coins for. And then that's when Zed sees the device, figures that they can use that as a monster to destroy the Rangers, and basically, anyway, I just want to mention something here. Technically, this episode is the last episode in the Power Rangers series where the power coins will be used. Now, I say last episode because of what's going to happen with Goldar, but I'll save that for when I get to the ending segment of it. Basically, what happens, now getting back into the actual storyline of this episode, while the Rangers are going to school on the school bus and everything, that's when Rito and Goldar and the Tangas show up at the school bus causing trouble. So the Rangers go to deal with them in their kid forms, but they can't fight because they don't have their powers. And so they basically fool around with Rito and Goldar on the bus by tiring them out, and they manage to get away from them. And then basically what happens is after that what basically happens is, now I'm going to get into the segment with Billy, because Billy creates this machine that can restore them to their normal ages. Basically, the machine that he creates is the monster that Zed and Rita are going to create. I just wanted to bring that up. But there's a caveat to using the machine, and that caveat is the fact that it needs the Rangers' power coins in order to activate and be used properly. And basically what happens is, after that, sorry, I had a bit of a burp there. I'm sorry. That's my apologies. I'm still trying to. It's been a while since I had supper, but still the food is digesting. So if you heard that burp a little, I apologize in the video about that. Anyway, basically the Rangers in their who are still in their child forms at this point, like Billy, they go to the power station to use the device to turn them back into their original forms, thus probably restoring their powers. And the funny thing is, the power station that they go to in this episode will get used again as the plot line for another villain in the in season 5. But I won't explain who that villain is until I get to that season. I just wanted to mention that ahead of time, though, since the power plant in this episode that I'm talking about will get used again in one of the later seasons of this segment of the Power Rangers series. I say segment because I'm on the Zordon era segment, which lasts until In Space, which is season 6. So after season 3, we'll have essentially 3 more seasons left. So basically, after this segment of season 3, we'll have 3 more left. Anyway, basically, what happens is basically Billy goes to use his machine, but when he goes to use, like, he uses the machine which has the power coins inside it to turn them back to normal, but he needs to test it first, so he tests it on himself. And then after that, he's returned to his original age before the time reversal. And then basically what happens is after that, that's when Rita and Zed send Goldar and the Tangas down to the power plant to deal with them, to intercept the Rangers from returning themselves to their normal ages, thus restoring their powers, which tactically speaking in this case is a good strategic move. Anyway, what happens is when Goldar and Rito and the Tenga show up, that's when the England Rangers come to help the other Rangers at the power plant. But when they go to help, Rito manages to grab the machine, which then smashes it, which prevents. Well, first what happens is Goldar gets a hold of the machine, which has the power coins inside it, and then he somehow, I can't remember how, but he grinds the power coins, turning them into dust, like I think crushes them. So basically the power coins are no longer in this series, but they will get referenced in the next season with the new morphers for the Rangers. I won't explain what those new morphers are until I get to that season, but I just thought I'd bring it up. So basically, now their powers are truly gone for good. And that's when Rita and Zed basically create the monster from Billy's machine, which is this base. They turn this into a gold sort of robot, and then they turn this machine into a sort of gold robot monster. Now the robot being made of a machine is actually the second time a toy-like object will be turned into a monster. Now what I mean by that is it'll happen again in the 10th season. I'm not going to explain which episode, but I just wanted to bring it up. And technically, robots are going to be the main antagonist of the next season, but I'll explain what I mean about that when I get to that season. I just wanted to bring it up, though, since I mentioned it. Anyway, that's when the Alien Rangers get contacted by Zordon and Alpha, and so they go to deal with the monster, and then they start fighting it, and then basically, the monster then they end up in this area where this fountain is, and then they continue fighting the monster as well as some Tangas, and then basically what happens is after that, the people of Angel Grove of that time, they're seeing what they're doing, and one of them's wondering who they are, but Billy is saying that he doesn't know, but whoever they are, they're heroes. And then basically, because they're the Rangers for this segment of the 3rd season, because like I said before, the Rangers don't have their powers because of them being turned back into children. But now even more so because the power coins have been turned to dust, so they're inoperable, which means they can never be used again. Anyway, what happens is after that, Rita and Zed then make the monster grow, and then basically the Alien Rangers fight the monster using their, I think, either their Battleborgs or the Shogun Zords. I think it's the Battleborgs for this one because, which are the Zords that they use that they control telepathically, like from their minds, basically. And what happens is they manage to defeat the monster, and then basically after that, Rita and Zed get upset that they lost again. And Zed says that they gotta find some way to get rid of those alien rangers once and for all. And then basically he says that they also won't stop. And then after that, what happens is the mayor of Angel Grove in this time frame is telling the citizens that, as they know, their city has come under attack, but they have heroes protecting them, which is the alien rangers and stuff. And then Billy says that, well, one of the rangers said that if it wasn't alien rangers, the earth would have been destroyed. But then Billy tells them that they can't stay here forever, which is technically true because they're, like I said, they're from a planet that is entirely encased in water, and there's only so much water on Earth for them to rehydrate from. And then basically, and then one of the rangers mentions that also their power coins are gone, so that they can't be Power Rangers anymore. So even if the time is reverted to its normal state, they won't have their powers anymore regardless. But Billy said they gotta figure some way out of this, and then basically that's where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys probably maybe sometime tomorrow for the next video. So until then, guys, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and like I always tell you with this series, may the power protect you always.